One springtime, 6 different students muse about their purpose and reason for being in school, hoping to secure some new social links this year while finally playing the game for themselves. One morning, our MC Saku is busy scrolling through his feed until Yuha spawns in to greet him. Yuha might look like a plain NPC, but her popularity stats are actually top tier. Saku shows her some hate comments calling him a massive flirt, but she just reminds him that being op in the charisma department always draws aggro. He drops a teasing grin, asking what makes people so jealous, and Yuha bluntly tells him his entire character build is basically a flex. They head to school and Yuha is hyped that they're party members in the same class again. But Saku notices their whole squad got the same spawn point, which is a problem because Yuha actually wanted some 1v1 time. They run into Yuko, the grade's literal idol, and Saku immediately starts his flirt routine, leading Yuha to expose him for checking out the new transfer students. Yuko acts creeped out and uses Yuha as a literal human shield to block his advances. Saku claims she's just salty he hasn't targeted her yet, earning a jab from the basketball ace Kaito, while Kazuki the soccer pro chimes in that Saku's Riz needs to be nerfed before he obliterates every girl's heart. With the full guild assembled, they do their signature hype cheer to start the school day at max energy. Inside the room, they meet Haru and Yuzuki, the newest additions to the server. Haru is a basketball sweat with insane skills, while Yuzuki is basically a Yuko tier beauty with a different skin. Yuha tries to initiate a trade of words since she hasn't talked to these two players before. Suddenly, Saku realizes they aren't officially in the group yet and invites them in, while they add their own custom nicknames to the squad list. The vibe is wholesome, but Saku spots a few jealous NPCs in the back giving them nasty looks for being so popular. Class starts and Saku realizes their homeroom teacher is Korra, a total veteran on this server. Haru is stoked because Korra isn't a strict moderator, meaning she won't get banned for her messy uniform after basketball practice. Korra calls Saku up to lead the class elections like the main character he is. He introduces himself as Korra's personal maid with a fake curtsy, basically speedrunning the icebreaker. He leans into the memes, admitting everyone calls him a flirt, which gets the whole room giggling. The class is vibing with his energy, though some haters are clearly irritated by his showmanship. While the rest of the class is vibing, a few NPCs look totally tilted by his over-the-top showmanship. When he asks for president nominations, the class collectively decides he should just take the W since he's a natural leader. Yuko speedruns the vice president volunteer slot, promising to actually help this time instead of dumping all the quests on Saku like last year. They stand together at the front, and Saku tells the class they're aiming for a legendary school year. After class, Saku catches Korra smoking on the roof and gives him a quick reprimand. Korra doesn't care and tells Saku that since they're both villains in the eyes of others, they should stick together. He drops a side quest. He needs Saku to deal with Kenta, a student who's been AFK from school for way too long. Korra drops a photo of Kenta, a total shut-in who's officially ghosted the school system. He mentions Kenta is a massive anime fan, leaving our MC Saku wondering why he's being fed this useless trivia. Korra explains that only a student can truly understand the trauma of another student. Saku realizes this is a forced quest. Korra wants him to convince Kenta to stop being a hikikomori. He tries to skip the dialogue, but Korra knows Saku's internal code won't let him say no. He calls him out, saying Saku has way too much MC energy and can't resist playing the hero. After school, Saku spots a wild Asuka by the riverbank and decides to initiate a conversation. It's like she was waiting for him, and they start some light banter about the book she's reading. As they talk, Saku gets a flashback to the first time they ever met. He was about to lecture some kids for getting messy in the river when Asuka suddenly pulls a pro-gamer move and jumps straight into the water. The kids immediately vibe with her, and soon they're all splashing around like it's a beach episode. Safe to say, Saku was totally intrigued by this chaotic energy. He waited until the end of the session just to hand her a towel so she wouldn't catch a cold. While she's drying off, Saku asks why she decided to play along with the bratty kids. He argues that she should have just scolded the bullies, but Asuka's logic is built different. She points out that because she joined in, everyone ended the day as friends instead of enemies. Saku thinks it's a weird strat since she's the one who ended up looking like a drowned rat. But for Asuka, having fun is the only objective that matters. Impressed by her logic, he asks for her name, realizing Asuka perfectly fits her free-spirited best girl energy. Back in the present, he's complaining about how Korra is making him run errands like a typical NPC. Asuka explains that he's perfectly imperfect and starts dropping deep analogies about his personality. She hits him with the classic hypothetical: if she and his female bestie were drowning and he only had a kayak, who gets the save? Saku uses his big brain to answer that he'd just have one hold the boat while he saves the other. Asuka ups the stakes, adding sharks and piranhas to the water like it's a survival horror game. Saku rightfully complains that this scenario is getting way too unrealistic. Asuka confidently tells him that if it were her, she'd save him instantly because she's caught major feels for him. Saku teases her for the low-effort confession, but Asuka knows the truth. Saku would sacrifice himself for a beautiful ending like the true MC he is. Later that night, Saku is looking over the town from his balcony, feeling pensive. The town is quiet, and he wonders if Kenta is even getting any sleep in his dark room. As he reaches for the moon, his thoughts drift to the mission, wondering what kind of boss fight Kenta's heart will be. The next day, Yuzuki approaches him, worried that he's gotten himself into some new trouble. Saku fills her in on the Kenta situation, and she immediately offers to join his party. But Saku declines, saying he's already scouted someone else for this specific raid. Yuzuki feels the sting of being benched, but reminds him she's always available for backup. Saku waits by the bikes and spots Yua, who's busy nerfing her beauty behind a wall before running up to meet him. He explains he chose her because she has that high-level, comfy aura that makes people lower their guard. Saku preps a borrowed bike and teases Yua about her weight, since she's going to be the passenger. He notices she's sitting awkwardly, but Yua snaps back that she's in a skirt and can't exactly straddle the seat like a pro. He tells her to just grab his waist so she doesn't end up meeting Truck-kun early. During the ride, Yua notices that Saku is surprisingly sturdy for someone who looks like a lean MC. Saku humble brags about being a top-tier baseball player back in the day. Turns out Yua already knew, having watched his championship games from the stands. He teases her for being a secret fangirl, and surprisingly, she admits she totally was. Suddenly, he feels her hands slide firmly around his waist. Saku goes quiet, jokingly plotting to brake-check her so her plot slams into his back. Yua isn't having it and threatens to delete his windpipe until he swears he's just trolling. She asks what the plan is, and Saku admits he's totally winging it since he hasn't even met the guy. They arrive at the apartment, and a faint, muffled voice answers the intercom. They play it cool, introducing themselves as classmates just delivering some school printouts. It's actually Kenta's mom, and she invites them in, hoping they can fix her son. They find out Kenta has been in offline mode for a long time and won't talk to her. Saku insists that a fellow student is the only way to break through a hikikomori's firewall. But Kenta is a salt mine, calling Saku a normie flirt and accusing Yua of just being another girl in his harem. After a quick mental reset from the insults, they try again, explaining the teacher sent them on this quest. Saku claims to be an anime fan, but Kenta starts gatekeeping, testing him with some niche underground titles. They fail the test, but Yua manages to pivot, asking for recommendations since she likes her brother's shonen manga. Kenta's defense drops a bit, but he's still too embarrassed to let a girl see his messy room. Yua suggests they just keep the voice chat going through the door for now. Slowly, Kenta starts opening up, and Saku smirks, knowing Yua was the perfect bait to lure him out. But when Saku offers to leave them alone, Kenta flips out again, and Saku realizes the progress bar has stalled for today. On the ride back, Yua mentions that Kenta seems like he's living in constant fear of something. They joke about how much Kenta hates Saku's guts, wondering how they'll ever complete the mission. As the sun sets, Saku is already theory crafting a new plan to get Kenta to join the server. Next attempt, he brings Yuko, who is absolutely hyped to be riding on the back of his bike. He thinks her honest, no thoughts head empty energy might be the counter to Kenta's cynicism. Saku tells her to watch her skirt, but Yuko is too busy enjoying the main character experience to care. She eventually clings to him, calling him her hero and making things pretty awkward for our MC. Saku tells her to just act natural and he'll carry the rest of the conversation. Back at the door, Kenta is tilted that Yua didn't show up, thinking she's already ghosted him. Saku defends her, saying she's just busy and actually cares about his well-being. He introduces Yuko, who gives an energetic intro that would put any idol to shame. Kenta accuses her of being a clout chaser, saying she's only helping him to earn points with Saku. Yuko senses the hostility and asks if he's just salty because he got rejected by his crush. Kenta loses it, but Yuko calmly explains she's trying to be Saku's number one and would accept his choices even if she got friend-zoned. She says Saku is a genuine good guy, so there's no reason to be a hater even if your heart gets broken. Kenta goes silent, so Saku sends Yuko downstairs for some tea while he prepares for a solo raid. He tries to coax Kenta one more time, but the door stays locked tight. He heads down and apologizes to the mom, but he's not giving up just yet. Saku steps outside, lines up with Kenta's window, and literally parkours his way up. Kenta is shook as Saku gives him a confident smirk, telling him it's time to finally face the music. After the dramatic entrance, Saku takes a seat, ready to have a real heart-to-heart. He tells Kenta to vent all that toxic energy, and surprisingly, the floodgates open. He starts venting about how the high-tier popular kids always look down on the unpopular geeks, wishing that someone would actually bother to learn his lore instead of just treating him like a background NPC. Saku sighs, agreeing that while some players are born with op talent, those people still have to grind daily to keep their stats maxed out. Kenta argues that talented people working hard just makes the game even more impossible for low-level players like him. But Saku counters that consistent grinding eventually turns into skill, and that's a path open to every character in the game. He points out that just making it into this university server already gives Kenta a massive edge over the competition. Kenta weakly argues that his social battery is permanently nerfed, so Saku starts coaching him on the basics of communication, even dropping some meta phrases to help him join a conversation party. He initiates a practice round by faking a tired status effect, baiting Kenta to follow up. And soon they're actually vibing over a shared interest in visual novels. Saku claps for him, hyped that Kenta finally maintained a conversation without a system crash. Kenta gets triggered, thinking he's being trolled, but Saku reassures him that he's actually being 100% serious. Kenta still thinks Saku is a fake gamer who isn't really into VNs. So Saku starts naming a bunch of niche titles that Kenta actually has in his inventory. Kenta demands a plot summary to prove he isn't just reading the covers, and Saku delivers a perfect breakdown. Saku decides to explain the situation exactly how he sees it. Meanwhile, Yuko is downstairs being the ultimate support, having tea with Kenta's mom. She notices the mom's anxiety and uses her idol tier charm to complement the tea and fix the vibes. Upstairs, Kenta is shook because Saku's summary was literally flawless. Saku admits that while he looks like a jock, he actually enjoys a good reading session, even though it took him a whole week of grinding to finish the series. Kenta asks why a popular guy would put in that much effort, and Saku tells him he hates people who don't even try to understand others. He explains that the whole point of the social meta is to understand and be understood in return. He points out that Yua and Yuko have been trying to learn his character lore this whole time, encouraging Kenta to finally stop playing in private mode. He hints that Kenta is the one blocking the connection, then walks over to the bookshelf to pull out a specific title. He starts telling a story about a guy who was gifted with top-tier looks and skill, who rose to the top of the server but stayed humble, only to be griefed by jealous peers. They exaggerated his flaws until he finally snapped and decided to become an ordinary NPC, believing that losing his main character status would make people stop hating him. Kenta asks if the plan actually worked, but Saku reveals it totally backfired and the criticism only got worse. A teacher then told this guy that people with many God-given gifts are meant to lead the group. Those words reset his perspective, and he decided to embrace his op nature and just live beautifully. He resolved to be someone untouchable who still looks out for the weaker players. Some people are just born to be the leaders of the pack. When Kenta asks who this legendary hero is, Saku confidently announces it's actually him. He admits he made up 90% of that story on the fly, leaving Kenta confused about where the actual truth ends and the fiction begins. He calms down, admitting he was judging the normies too harshly, which leads Saku to ask for his definition of the term. Kenta thinks normies are just players who have life set to easy mode, confirming that he definitely considers Saku to be one of them. Saku explains that being popular is actually a massive headache because he gets insulted every single day. Kenta realizes Saku is built different, but still complains about other popular kids who act like they own the server. Saku agrees but says he's lucky his squad is full of high-tier people, which Kenta finally acknowledges. Saku tells him there's no harm in showing off as long as you aren't griefing other players. Kenta then asks if Saku has it easy when it comes to the romance questline. Kenta apologizes, admitting Saku is different from the arrogant, popular NPCs he usually hates. Saku agrees, saying he's lucky his friend group is filled with actual human beings and not just posers. He argues there's nothing wrong with standing out as long as you aren't stepping on others. Kenta asks if life is really easy mode when you're as popular as Saku. Saku admits it's a double-edged sword. One wrong move and you're the villain of the story. It hurts because even if you want to stay friends, a confession can ruin the entire dynamic forever. Kenta thinks about opening up, but Saku pulls an I know move and predicts the whole backstory. He guesses Kenta was in a club and fell for a girl who was actually into someone else. That rejection turned Kenta into a shut-in who's terrified of human connection. And that's exactly why he's been camping in his room for months. Saku asks if he missed anything, and Kenta admits the rejection was even harsher than he described. Saku actually sympathizes with the guy, which finally breaks Kenta's ironclad defense. Yuko arrives with snacks, but hears the bromance happening and decides to let them vibe in peace. She tells the mom that the Operation Save Kenta mission is officially going well. Saku learns the girl's name was Miki and that Kenta is finally over her. Kenta agrees to return to school, but only if Saku carries him like a support character. Saku gives him a flat no, saying he's not going to be his babysitter. Kenta has to carve his own path. He agrees to help for the first 3 weeks, but after that, Kenta has to be a solo player. Their goal, making sure all those people who look down on him see him in a brand new light. Saku warns him that bad-mouthing girls on the internet isn't going to get him a girlfriend. Kenta is terrified of leaving his room, but Saku promises that the outside world has way better plots to offer than his 2D screen. He gets Kenta hyped up about the possibilities before immediately shooting him down, reminding him that Yuko's heart and her plot already belongs to the MC. Kenta finally leaves his cave and apologizes to his mom and Yuko, who is stoked to finally see his face. She tells him to hit the shower so she can give him a legendary makeover for his school debut. By sundown, Yuko is cutting his hair while Saku gives him a crash course on how to not be an NPC. He also suggests a diet because if you want the glow-up achievement, you gotta put in the work. Saku takes his phone and bans him from social media until he learns how to talk to people without being a toxic troll. As Yuko finishes the cut, Saku realizes they've actually made some serious progress today. Even a nervous Kenta looks ready to start his new life as a reformed student. Later that evening, Yuko and Saku stop at a park to decompress. She asks how he convinced him, and Saku says he just told him to find a new girl to fixate on. Yuko gushes about how blunt and cool Saku was during their own first meeting. Saku cringes a bit, not really wanting to relive that specific memory. Yuko hopes Kenta can truly open up because she genuinely wants to be his friend. Saku muses that youth is just a series of problems you have to face while learning to stand on your own 2 feet. The next day, Kenta freezes at the classroom door, his anxiety levels hitting the red zone. Saku gives him the "don't worry, I'm the MC" look and promises everything will be fine. He kicks the door open and introduces Kenta with the kind of energy usually reserved for a boss reveal. Kenta is mortified that Saku is literally broadcasting his tragic backstory to the entire class. But Saku knows the meta, you have to let them laugh first so you can blend in later. Yuzuki catches the vibe and playfully scolds Saku for leaking juicy secrets after telling everyone to keep it low-key. Soon, all of Saku's friends and the rest of the class begin joining in, joking and asking Kenta to join them and tell the story. Kenta is absolutely shook. He expected a total social disaster, but everyone is already treating him like a regular member of the class. Saku reminds him that taking a joke is a high-level social skill and gives him a gentle push into the limelight. Taking the leap, Kenta talks about how he misread the signs from a girl who lent him a towel, thinking it was a flag. Kaito agrees that any guy would have fallen for that, but Haru roasts him, saying if she lent him a towel, she'd probably throw it away afterward. This sparks some classic banter between the two, leaving Kenta totally confused by the dynamic. Saku explains that this is just how friends vibe, and that knowing the difference between a joke and actual grieving is key to mastering social interactions. Kenta is still worried about being bullied, but Saku promises to be his personal tank if anyone ever tries to mess with him. At lunch, the group spots Kenta's mid-tier meal, and he admits he's officially on the diet grind per Saku's orders. The girls immediately offer their support, vibing with his dedication. But Kaito doesn't get why Kenta needs a transformation arc in the first place. Kenta spills the tea on Miki, the toxic girl from his otaku club who absolutely crushed his heart. Kaito tries to imagine the scene with the girls, but Saku notices they're dropping a death threat aura to keep him in line. Kenta explains how he worked up the courage to ask Miki out, only to be hit with a brutal rejection and a side of insults. It turns out Miki only had eyes for the club president and used Kenta as a tool to trigger a jealousy flag. Once she secured her man, Kenta was left in the dust, mocked by everyone for trying to pull a girl way out of his league. Kazuki thinks Kenta is just looking for a revenge arc, but the squad sees his honesty as a sign of true strength, proving he's finally on the right path to becoming a better version of himself. They all drop words of encouragement, officially welcoming him into their circle of friends. When Kenta tries to join the group huddle, they fake him out, but Saku hits him with a solid fist bump to complete the mission. Later, Kazuki keeps it 100 with Saku, giving his real thoughts on their new friend. He thinks Kenta is still gated by his insecurities, and that a total personality reset won't happen overnight. However, Saku has maxed out his faith stats, believing Kenta is truly capable of change. Saku reports back to Korra, who isn't surprised that our MC went with such a flashy, high-stakes introduction. But Saku wants to dive into some deeper philosophical dialogue. Korra thinks he's getting hit up for a loan, but Saku hits him with a question about what it means to live authentically. Korra explains that not everyone starts with a life compass, so most people just follow someone they admire until they find their own way. He tells Saku to stop overthinking and just trust his own internal navigation. Saku wonders if his compass is actually pointing him toward the sky. Korra thanks him for the carry, but when Saku asks for his reward, Korra pulls a ninja vanish and makes a quick exit. A week later, Kenta has already shredded 2 kilograms, and the glow-up is starting to look real. He hits the shops with Saku and Yuko to buy some high-tier gear that actually fits his new build. And once the shopping quest is complete, Yuko suggests they hit a cafe, the same spot where he's supposed to meet his old friends. Saku asks for the raid schedule, and Kenta reveals the big meeting is going down in just 2 weeks. He shows off a message from Miki, who seems shook that he even messaged her, and she's already invited the rest of the old party to join. Yuko is a bit lost, so Kenta explains he just wants to prove he's no longer a low-level NPC and is capable of a total respec. Yuko pulls a pro-gamer move and calls a waiter over to take a group photo, leaving Kenta stunned at how well he fits in with these 2 main characters. Saku reassures him that the hard work is paying off, and the change in his stats is obvious to anyone with eyes. Kenta vows to reach his endgame goals without wasting Saku's coaching, though Saku still has to tease him for being too shy to use the friends tag, which gets the whole table laughing. Saku is low-key proud that his student is actually putting in the work to stop being a shut-in. But the next morning, things get toxic when Saku overhears some students grill Kenta on how he managed to join such an op-friend group. Kenta calmly leaks the info that Korra was the one who forced the connection. As the bullying starts to ramp up, Yua tries to heal the situation, but the haters turn their fire on her, calling her a plain-tier player compared to the rest of the squad. Saku and the boys are eavesdropping by the door, sensing a boss fight is about to break out. Kenta tries to tank the hits for Yua, but that just makes the bullies accuse him of simping for her. Saku pings Yuzuki and Kazuki to prepare for an intervention, cursing their bad luck because if Kenta gets tilted now, his entire character arc might just go up in smoke. The squad enters the room, and the group bothering Yua and Kenta immediately feels the shift in the meta. Atomo asks Saku what the deal is with the Geek Association, but Saku just pretends Atomo is a total random, which triggers him since they've met at baseball games before. Saku notes he isn't in the baseball club anymore, which Atomo calls a waste of time. Just as Kazuki mentions, he recognizes the girl in Atomo's party. Nizuna starts blushing because Kazuki actually knows her name, which is a classic fumble because she tries to convince the boys to ditch their unremarkable group and hang with the elites, specifically targeting Yua with the shade. Yuzuki takes that personally, asking if she's got a problem with athletic girls, forcing Nizuna to backpedal faster than an Isekai protagonist. Atomo grabs Kenta by the head, demanding to know why a normie like Saku is wasting his time here. Saku just says he picks his own teammates, while Kazuki tries to lower the room's aggro levels. Atomo claims he hates people who have life set to easy mode, giving Kenta one last warning to stop causing trouble for the popular kids. The bullies finally log off, leaving Kenta looking like he just took a critical hit to his self-esteem. Saku is confused by Atomo's toxic behavior, but his main focus is on his teammate, who is looking seriously nerfed. After school, they hit a restaurant where Kenta admits he's terrified of Atomo's bullying. Saku tells him to just mute the haters and focus on the main quest if he actually wants to level up. On the walk home, Saku starts overthinking things. He started this quest to protect his own hero image, but now he's genuinely worried that Kenta's mental health stats are bottoming out. As he contemplates his next move, Haru slaps his back and demands his help with some training. He ends up helping her with some high-level stretches, complementing her flexibility. Haru notices he's looking serious and asks what's lagging his brain. He asks if she's just being nosy, but she says she just wants a solid practice partner for the upcoming games. During stretching, Saku gets vulnerable, asking Haru how she deals with failing during a high-stakes match. Saku asks what she does when she fails a match, and Haru says you just have to own the L, apologize to the squad, and promise to do better next time. Then she drops the big question, why did he quit the baseball meta? Saku fakes a reason, saying he just hated the shaved head cosmetic requirement. Haru senses he's capping, but keeps the routine going anyway. She notes that Saku isn't the type to rage quit or play half-heartedly, no matter what server he's on. Saku vaguely hints that his all-or-nothing playstyle is exactly why he left the sport behind. Finally warmed up, Haru proposes a high-stakes bet. First to 10 points wins, and the winner gets to ask the loser any question they want. She clearly just wants to unlock the secrets of his past. Saku smirks, threatening to ask something naughty and making her buy him snacks if he takes the W. The game starts and Haru completely obliterates him, meaning Saku has to pay up in convenience store loot. After he delivers the snacks, she forces him to spill the tea on why he was so upset earlier. He admits he's worried about Kenta's upcoming meeting with his old toxic friends. Haru gives him a look of pure disappointment, saying it's Kenta's job to handle his own results and stand on his own 2 feet. She says Saku's worry is actually an insult to Kenta's determination to change his build. According to her, a coach's job is to teach the mechanics and then yeet the student into the field. You only step in when they're in a real pinch. She grabs his face, telling him to stop overcarrying the poor guy. In the park, Haru reminds him he doesn't need to be in perfect MC mode all the time and should just chase what he actually wants. They vibe in the park, and Haru tells him to stop the act and start chasing the things he actually wants. That line actually lands, so Saku suggests another challenge. A long jump contest off the swings. The loser has to confess their true feelings to the winner someday, and Haru is 100% down. Saku spots a star in the distance and realizes he wants to be like that, someone who shines without needing a girl's praise. They both leap at the same time and land in a perfect tie. Later, Saku calls Yuzuki, and after some light banter, things get serious. He admits he only helped Kenta because Korra asked, but Yuzuki sees right through his facade. Yuzuki asks if there's a secret motive, and Saku realizes she's one of those rare characters who can see right through his mask. She teases him for being late to ask for her help, after already relying on Yua and Yuko for the Kenta quest. She admits she wanted to help just so Saku would owe her a massive favor, the kind that ends in a romance route. Saku is totally blindsided and tells her to chill with the sudden romantic flags. Yuzuki claims she's just trolling to keep their ongoing joke alive. Sensing a heavy mood, Saku leans into the joke and asks what color underwear she's wearing today. Yuzuki doesn't hesitate, describing her black lace set in detail and leaving Saku absolutely floored. Our MC is officially stunned by her boldness. They eventually hang up, and Yuzuki looks at the moon, lost in her own thoughts. It's been 3 weeks since Kenta's return, and he's looking fit and ready for the next level. Even Kenta can feel that his stats have significantly improved. Saku reminds him about meeting his old group tomorrow, and Kenta realizes he doesn't need their approval anymore. He just wants them to see he's changed. Saku reassures him that the new Kenta is already a legend in the making. They head to PE, where Yuko gives them an enthusiastic wave from the sidelines. Then a rival named Atomo approaches with a challenge. Without missing a beat, Saku accepts the bet with a smirk that says he's ready to carry. Kenta starts panicking, but Saku promises to feed him the ball as much as possible during the match. He tells Kenta to stop worrying about the bet and just focus on enjoying the game like a true player. As the game kicks off, Saku tells Kenta to camp by the goal, waiting for the perfect pass. Kazuki threads a needle to Saku, who calls for Kenta to get ready for the shot. He sends the ball in, but Kenta fumbles the play and eats dirt, causing the entire enemy team to lose it. While the NPCs laugh, Yuko shouts from the sidelines to keep his head up. Saku helps him up, hyping him up by saying his form was actually perfect and would have been a banger if it connected. Kenta feels like a burden, but Saku insists that having fun is more important than the scoreboard. Following his lead, the entire team starts playing for the vibes rather than the win. Atomo mocks Saku, asking why he's wasting his op skills on a loser like Kenta. But Saku stands his ground, insisting Kenta is actually amazing. The score gap widens, and Saku's team is officially getting stomped. Still, the girls' cheers are getting louder and louder. Saku smiles at the support and tells Kenta it's time to give them a show. Saku and Kazuki begin to up their game, with Kenta struggling to keep up. After missing another pass, Kenta's mental starts to crumble. Seeing his friend's spirit fade, Saku decides to at least secure a highlight reel goal. He and Kazuki pull off a glorious combo play to score the final goal of the match. They still lose the game, and the penalty is a public embarrassment. Everyone except Kenta has to do the bunny hop of shame. Atomo looms over Kenta, clearly trying to exert some high-level dominance. After class, Yuko says she had a blast, and Saku brags that even his bunny hops are top-tier aesthetic. They talk about how Kenta fumbled the plays, but still showed some real heart out there. Kenta overhears and slams his locker, letting them know he's not happy. He tells them to quit the fake nice act, claiming Atomo was right and they're just mocking him. Saku asks what Atomo told him, and Kenta says that for normal people, PE is just a nightmare. He's convinced Saku just used him as a prop to look like a hero. He blames Saku for putting a target on his back for the bullies. He blames Saku for making him the target of bullies. Saku tries to apologize, but Yuko defends him, saying Saku would never talk trash behind someone's back. Saku stops her, admitting that his hero play did end up hurting Kenta, and he takes the L for it. Kenta bolts, and Saku shouts after him to give it his best shot tomorrow. Walking home, Saku tells Yuko it's fine because his contract to look after Kenta officially ends tomorrow. Yuko admits she only helped because Saku asked her to. She wouldn't have done it on her own. In her eyes, that makes Saku the true hero of the story. Saku tries to deny it, but Yuko says only truly kind people are blind to their own goodness. Saku teases her, but Yuko reminds him she's been in the spotlight since she was a kid. She knows a star when she sees one. Saku teases her, and Yuko says that she has been in the spotlight since she was a kid, so she's used to it. Saku promises to start believing her compliments